What makes a house a home? Over 8 weeks, 21 homes bursting with style and character are competing to be crowned Home of the Year. In the series so far, the judges have travelled the country, finding extraordinary homes worthy of a place in the final. Making the tough decisions are interior design legend Hugh Wallace, architect Declan O'Donnell, and textiles and homeware designer Helen James.
For me, this competition is all about celebrating bravery and bold decisions in your home.
I want to be impressed by the ingenuity of the people who live in the home.
When it gets down to it, budget has nothing to do with it. It's all about the creativity and the sense of the homeowner, because that's what makes a really good home.
Tonight, the judges travel to the west of Ireland to visit 3 more unique homes. Scoring them based on functionality, individuality and clever design, the home with the highest marks will earn a place in the final. But there can only be one winner. This is Home of the Year. First, Jane Chambers and Miles Lambert moved to Sligo to set up their beachfront cafe Shells in 2009. They bought an 80-year-old bungalow and set about making it their perfect seaside abode.
We never lived here, we'd only ever spent the odd weekend here, but there was always something magical when we were here.
We can still go surfing every day.
Yeah, still go surfing after work. The house, when we got it, was in really poor state.
But we just loved that view so much and we fell in love with it.
When it came to doing our own house, we knew exactly what we wanted out of it.
We just kind of wanted to just be a bit bold with the house, have a few risks. We decided that we would do poured concrete counters, kitchen with a lot of heart and character, somewhere fun to be in.
Soon our home's going to become a family home, so we're expecting our first child in about 2 months.
I can't wait. One day I'll be able to skateboard in my house with my kid, my concrete floors. I think salvage pieces always have a story, and that's very important for our house. We found this guy who makes tables out of old basketball courts, and we got this table made up to fit a dozen people, and it worked really, really well.
We've chosen our main bathroom as a favourite part of the house. One of the key things is this, which is the original entrance to the house. So it brings everything together, the old cottage, new extension, industrial and salvage in one little space. We love living here. The house is purpose-built for our needs. Between the house and our location, you feel like you're on holiday when you're not in work.
The judges must now assess the home, armed only with the basic facts about the property and its owners.
We have a little roadside stone cottage.
In a fantastic location.
It's amazing. Let's go.
Wow.
It's a lovely uplifting feeling when you come in. You have a number of different heights going on here. You enter into this nice volume, it gets lower again, and then it goes up into this shape, embracing those views. There's a perception with bungalows that the ceiling heights are quite low. The complete opposite is the case here when you come in. What a terrific trick. Sloping that ceiling up, defined the space, allowed you to do the big picture windows, completely changed the space.
Very cool. I love all of the textures. You know, the exposed stone, the wood, the concrete floors.
Rough, smooth. That's when it gets interesting, because there's more than one layer. Every time you look at something, you're seeing something different.
I love this table. Isn't it fantastic?
What it reminds me of is the floor from one of those great nightclubs. Imagine the romance, the dancing that went on that table.
On that floor.
On that floor. You must remember the ballroom of romance.
Was that around in the 90s?
Ah, come on, baby. When you collect and you salvage items or products, they can either be naff or really perfect. This house, they're perfect. I just love these kitchen units. How about that now?
I can't believe that that actually has that mechanism in it, because it looks like something that will creak open, but it's not.
Dishwasher. Oh, I love it.
People think pictures are the only things that can go on the wall, but look how graphic those shapes look against the white. It's really, really clever.
You've got to respect people who make bold design decisions and carry that right through their home.
This was a decision, like, you couldn't change your mind.
With
This
not
is
at all.
here. It's a monolith, you know?
Yeah.
This is a poured concrete, solid worktop. It's not moving.
No.
So, like, you made the decision to put this here.
Staying.
Yeah. Wow, look at that incredible view.
this space. It's like a fourth room. You have lovely threshold detail, so you've got no step.
Fantastic. Look at the fire pit.
And then we have our shower.
Outdoor
Our
shower.
surfer's shower.
Surfers.
You can imagine they come here, rinse down, come to the fire, wrap up in a blanket and just breathe in that amazing view. It's great being in this space because they've been really clever.
They've really achieved a lovely, warm, cozy living space within this open plan area.
Works really well. And what I like is those industrial lights, which give the sort of total tone of the interior design of this space. And you either like it or you don't like it.
We are seeing it everywhere in bars and cafes. Everywhere I go, it's kind of in my face. So I would only question is, will it stand the test of time in your own home?
The industrial style that's been done here has been really carried out in great detail. In my view, won't age. And when the owners are in their 70s, they'll still be out surfing and they'll still enjoy this place.
I think they've been very conscious in this house in how they've displayed their personal effects. You're really getting a sense of their personality. It's all very curated, but it doesn't feel precious either. They've just got the balance spot on, I think.
And it is very tranquil. Having the bed here, looking back at that wall, is just terrific. You lie in the bed and you can order your breakfast.
Fantastic.
It's just fantastic.
I mean, you'll be bringing it in to me
I'll
on
be
a
bringing,
tray.
Helen, I'll bring you in breakfast. It's just super.
Bathroom.
Bathroom, and look. On a personal level, I am so thrilled that we have a favourite spot that's in a bathroom.
I'm quite surprised, actually, that this is their favourite spot. Because for me, there are other places in this home that are more unique and more amazing.
The fact that the bathroom is sort of a mini version of everything we've seen to date is fascinating. There's a whole warmth to this house and a comfort, which really makes it a home.
The home will now be marked out of 10. One score will be held back until the judges have seen all 3 homes, when their combined scores will be revealed.
They've achieved a real sense of warmth with their use of natural materials, which they've repeated throughout the home, giving a lovely sense of fluidity and cohesion. I'm giving it a 9.
I have to congratulate the owners for pulling off a fantastic design using reclaimed material to curate a truly unique look and a fantastic functioning home. And I give it a 9.
This is a small house, but the homeowners put real thought into their design and their layout, and the size of the extension is just the right size to allow the open plan spaces to work. The sloped ceilings and picture windows have a huge impact on how those spaces feel, and that really impressed me.
Next up is a self-built cob house in Sligo. Architect Fela Butler and carpenter Colin Ritchie live with their children Dahi and Fia.
When we told people we were building with cob, the 2 things people thought is we were building an African mud hut or we were building a famine cottage.
It's going to wash away.
And then people were like, oh, it's actually a real house and it's actually quite a nice house. Cob is subsoil, it's the stuff down beneath the topsoil, and you mix it with straw, and at the end of it you have a building material.
The kind of build itself took 3 years, really. It is labour intensive though, you got to be up for the job at hand. Being a carpenter really helped when it came to the woodwork side of building the house, and we made nearly everything from the kitchen to the stairs to the bunk beds.
You know what you're going to paint? Not yet?
That's the key element of the mud, I think, is the beautifulness that you can make out of it. It's just sculptural.
It's so expressive, isn't it? And personal. It's a house with personality, you know, like no other, I suppose.
Plus all locals think you're mad.
Yeah. When I designed it, I always describe it as it was this invisible mould, and as Colin filled it, you know, people could finally start to see what I'd always been able to see. I love this house.
She married the builder.
Wow. This is just like a fairy tale.
This is a non-traditional building in terms of its construction. It looks like a cob house, which is made from compacted earth and straw. That's what gives it its roundy shape.
Ah, it's very unusual. I've never seen a cob house before.
I've never been in one.
Neither have I.
Shall we go?
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing.
Isn't that view just great? This big window looking out onto that wonderland. And look, we have a sheepskin rug.
Oh, cozy. Sitting here by the fire with your cup of tea.
Very nice. This is a lifestyle choice, and you have to be really committed because these walls look like plaster, but don't forget, underneath that, it's built up of compacted earth that was put there by hand, probably by the owner's hand. And you have to be amazed really at the time and effort that goes into doing something like that.
It's different from what we do in terms
Yes.
of rigid drawings and lines. This is something that if you feel it should take a shape, you can make that shape and you can sort of knock down a bit and rebuild
Change
it.
it. Yeah.
It's soft when you're building it. It's like putty. So if you come up with an idea, it's a bit like marshmallow, you know, and you think, I want to put a bookcase in there. You just kind of squeeze it in and it fits.
I'm interested to see what the floor is.
Yeah. It looks like, I mean, is it some kind of compacted earth again? Maybe mud? Something else in it, maybe? You're having a taste? What's it like?
Mud and sand.
It's a bit gritty.
It's an earth floor.
And you think it's practical?
I don't know. I wonder, with kids, and you've got lots of nooks and crannies,
Yeah.
I wonder if it's difficult to keep clean.
Sweeping brush.
Yeah, job done.
A self-built project takes a huge amount of commitment. Never mind something like this, where you're actually building it with your bare hands. So much creativity, so much personality. That's what we're looking for in this competition.
I'm just kind of, you know, falling in love with it, you know, even though it isn't particularly my style.
Everything here is handmade. It's just fantastic to see how they've understood the materials, the knots and the colours and the textures really come out.
What is that? Oh, is that the fridge?
Isn't
Isn't
that
that
fantastic?
So the cold air comes in. Wow, you can really feel
it's properly
cold.
freezing,
Yeah.
I genuinely, having visited this house, would like to find out about cobbing because it's become real for me.
Ah, kid's bedroom. Oh, look at that bunk bed.
That's a bunk bed. I used to have bunk beds when I was younger. They look nothing like this. And looking at this now, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I had this.
It's like sleeping in a treehouse every night, isn't
Totally,
it?
yeah.
So much creativity, so much personality. This house is actually really, really clever, top to bottom.
Lovely glass treads to get the light in on that grate.
Wow.
Look at the scallop of that for the roof light. The cutout of it, how they've kind of chopped out that huge, big, thick roof. Huge amounts of light down to the staircase. Amazing.
I mean, this could have been a really awkward space because normally in this part of a house, you've got a corridor and you've got straight walls, but you've no straight lines up here. And you've got all of these rooms and shape converging here. Just feels magical.
It does, yeah. And look, it's their favourite spot.
It's a lookout tower, isn't it? You've just
Right
got
up.
green all the way from the windowsill to the mountain.
The shape of this house is really special.
This is the other side of the staircase we're seeing, but look, they've even undulated that so it's wavy and it's a different colour. It's an amazing kind of sensual experience to be up here and seeing it all of these shapes coming together.
And we have a whole cob world outside.
It's quite incredible. It's basically a mud hut.
Yeah, but this is an amazing product.
It's also a quite inexpensive way to build.
But there's time and love
Oh, yeah.
and commitment.
Yes. So what I'm really getting from this home is that everything that they've created, the little nooks and crannies, the furniture downstairs that looks like they made it, is really incredible. But the elements that they've brought in, the sofas and the furniture, just for me don't have the same impact.
This house wasn't built, it was sculpted, carved and moulded into a quite extraordinary family home. Using earth and straw is such a humble and honest way to build. There's personality and ingenuity in every stroke, and it's been a privilege just to come and visit. I'm giving it a 9.
I was absolutely enchanted. This is a truly unique, handmade home, and I have real admiration for what the homeowners have done here. I'm giving this home a 9.
Their mastery of the cob material is evident, and that's allowed them to create a great family home with really good design detailing, and the whole house is just seamless when you walk through it. I loved every nook and cranny of this home.
The third home is on the Connemara coastline. After renting this tranquil thatched, Karen O'Connor persuaded her landlady to sell her the cottage she now calls home.
I think there's something uplifting about a thatched cottage. The fact that it's so old and it's got all that history, culture, tradition. My own father, God rest him, grew up in a thatched cottage. I think there's something lovely about a natural roof like that. In the wintertime, it's lovely and warm. And in the summertime, it's lovely and cool. So when I moved in, all the big renovations had been done. It was really, I suppose, about putting my touch on the whole place in terms of the flooring, in terms of colours, kind of give a sense of being more room and a little bit more airy and all that. I wanted to kind of blend in different colours that I love from different places and still very much have that Irish feel. About 3-4 years ago, I decided that I really would love to build like a home office. And it just came together beautifully down beside the trees. I work from there part-time. There's a different feel to down there than there is to this house here. This is the heart of the house. And when I have friends and family in, this is where we relax, this is where we chat and have the crack. And then when I'm on my own, this is where I sit and have the half door open and let the sun stream in or the rain, whatever it is. So for that reason, this is my favourite spot. Well, one of my friends, when I told her I was going to call it Beach House, she started laughing. She said, "You can't see the beach." But it's that kind of dream of being beside the sea and that nice, easy life. There's something very special about it.
A lovely little cottage.
Gorgeous.
And I just love the detail on the top, holding down the thatch. My understanding is that that would have been different for each thatcher. So it's like their signature.
It's lovely.
It's very important that the thatched cottages that are left in this country are maintained, restored and used because they're part of our heritage.
Oh, lovely. It almost has a feeling of an East Coast American beach house with the whitewashed wood and the colour palette.
The whole thing is just very pretty.
Love the little splash of red here. It's a lovely big squishy sofa and it's actually their favourite spot. And it does look cosy. When you're sitting here, you get that lovely sense of the ceiling going up. So
And the chandelier.
And the chandelier.
You're thinking, what's a chandelier doing in a cottage like this? You wouldn't expect it to work, but it does because it's sitting in a volume which is very simple and painted in a warm white.
You can really see the whole history of this cottage when you look at the fireplace.
This is where everything happened. You know, the drying, the storytelling, and the cooking.
It would have actually been quite smoky, wouldn't it? So what a contrast this is to a dark, traditional, smoky cottage. And now we have this lovely, big, bright space.
I just love the tradition of the Sacred Heart because to me that sums up this cottage. You know, that it is about that respectfulness that's in this place. And there's a calmness here, which I think is terrific. A cottage like this evokes memories and emotions. And the fireplace and the way it's been restored in a respectful way, like the half door when you come in, the beams, is just really well done.
Kitchen space.
Well, it's an odd kitchen because you only have the cooker.
Yeah. To have a cooker without a sink beside it, I just don't know how I would use this kitchen. So I would have left this as a dining area. For me, this doesn't function at all.
The kitchen is in two halves, half here, half there. I know there's an element of compromise with the small footprint of the cottage, but this is not the solution. There's a better idea than this.
Even in a small space, zoning it correctly is fundamental to its function, and it can really make or break a space.
So here is the other half of the kitchen.
As you said, that should have been the dining area. The kitchen would have worked a lot better if it was all in this space.
Yeah.
It's a surprise, isn't it?
Makes it feel bigger.
Yeah, you're reflecting the open space back into that. Really works well.
Simple thing, but it's great being up here. It's a lovely vantage point for actually looking downstairs. Very odd to have that in a cottage.
This gives this house real wow factor.
I think people can be obsessed with trying to squeeze as much as they can into a house, and by that I mean rooms. Whereas this is a great example of if you make that sacrifice, the value that this puts back into the house is really impressive.
So we've got a big, bright, whitewashed bedroom, but it feels a little bit cold to me.
I think that's because it's a grey and also it's a higher gloss.
I think if you're going to keep the palette very minimal, then you need to add layers of texture to create that tension in a room, which gives your eye something to dance around, and that hasn't happened here.
There's another thing. You see the lace curtain and it ends up as a puddle on the floor, which is a dust collector. That's a real thing I hate.
Well, I actually really like the lace curtain, and I think it's very feminine, and that puddle on the ground, it's very romantic, and it is part of that whole relaxed, shabby chic kind of feeling. So I actually quite like the curtain, I have to say.
You're a romantic at heart, Helen.
I am.
This house should be on a postcard, but in this competition, that's not enough. The exterior is faultless. On the inside, there were some spaces that really worked, but equally, some that didn't. Overall, though, I thought it was a great little house and I'd easily found myself falling in love with it. I'm giving it a 7.
While some areas didn't work for me, I still feel this home is charming, comfortable and warm. I give it a 7.
I like that there's consistency in style throughout. However, I did have an issue with the functionality of a split kitchen, and for me, that just isn't practical.
Now that the judges have visited all 3 homes, it's time to see which home will come out on top. First, the Seaside Bungalow, where Declan held back his score.
This house had the slope ceiling, big picture windows, you know I love that. Outdoor fire pit, all about lifestyle, loads of character, great use of materials. I give it a 9.
Wow, 3 9s. We're in consensus. This house obviously grabbed all of us. The total of 27.
Next, Hugh reveals what he gave the Cobb house.
The way the cob was manipulated to put those light fittings in, that amazing fridge that worked. And then the house on top of that had this personality and warmth, and you just got the passion and love of the people who built this house. Because of that, I just gave it a 10.
Wow, top marks.
Yeah, totally justified as well. I think love is the right word.
A 10 and 2 9s is a total of 28.
And finally, Helen reveals what she gave the Thatched cottage.
A really cute, traditional thatch house. Great to have this in the competition. And I gave this home a 7.
I think it's a fair score for this home.
3 7s is a total of 21. So we have our winner for this week.
This cob house built out of the earth with such commitment and passion.
It was a joyous place to be, totally magic on the inside.
We all were enchanted by this house, weren't we? It put a spell on us. And I'm delighted that something so unique is in the final.
So the 5th home through is the Cobb house in Sligo. Next week, the search continues for Home of the Year.